The initial jostling for position between the young queen, the Dowager Queen, and I was quickly resolved. I was afforded robes of the same quality and was required to walk just one half step behind my daughter-in-law. The Dowager Queen, to her credit, knew when it was time for her to depart from my son's court. I, on the other hand, was to accompany him on all excursions and to be consulted on all matters of politics. Henry knew well the value of my counsel and influence. Oh, but you must not think me always the third in their marriage. Good Lord, no, perish the thought. I had my own estate at Collyweston, near Stamford, where I lived alone. With my husband's blessing, I had taken a vow of chastity in 1499, and yet we maintained a very pleasant accord. He had rooms at my home and was a frequent and most welcome visitor, as was my daughter-in-law. This prime location made sense, allowing me to administer justice over the entire Midlands and the North. Yet it was close enough to oversee the births and manage the upbringing of my grandchildren. Elizabeth and I worked as one when it came to the arrangements for beneficial marriages for them. Together we had planned and instructed the Spanish on the requirements for Arthur's union with the Infanta Catalina. And we interceded to prevent Princess Margaret being sent to the Scottish king as a child bride. I would see none suffer such a trauma as had I. 1502, tragedy struck our family. My eldest grandson, Arthur, and the Tudor heir was dead. To outlive one's grandchildren is not the normal order of things. His parents and the country were united in grief. Mine own mourning would have to wait, as it fell to me to instigate preparations in support of the new heir apparent, Henry. Immediately, I began selecting new tutors and advisers. I advised him, guided him. Like his father before him, he had grown up in the knowledge of my importance in such matters. This bright 11-year-old listened and learned quickly, and it was vital that his education became more in keeping with what was to come. No longer destined for the church, the responsibility for ruling England would now rest on those small shoulders. We were plunged into grief just a year later, and my presence at court made all the more important. Elizabeth died following the birth of a short-lived child named Catherine. Henry grieved, and so it was left to me to oversee Margaret finally leaving the English court to become Queen of the Scots. At 14, it was now safe to assume the role of a wife. Then there followed a few settled years. I continued with my good causes and enjoying my twilight, free from the battles and anguish of my earlier life. Yet it is true I had achieved a long life and witnessed much. Yet nothing could have prepared me for the loss of my son. April 1509. He was gone. He had been the reason God had granted me life, the object of 52 years of devotion. My love for him had been everything. He had been my reason for being. I held that baby in my arms, just a child myself, and though I had suffered heinously to bring him into being, as I looked into those eyes, suddenly, from nowhere, a wave of unconditional love enveloped me and never left. The perfect son. His devotion, loyalty and love had been everything a mother could wish for. He once wrote to me, "All which things, according to your desire and pleasure, I have with all my heart and goodwill given and granted unto you. I shall be as glad to please you as your heart can desire. For I know well that I am as much bounden so to do as any living creature. But the great and singular motherly love and affection that it hath pleased you at all times to bear unto me, my heart was broken. There was naught in this world for me now. Yes, I was consulted on the plans for my grandson's coronation. And yes, I found some focus when he sought my guidance on whom he should choose for his privy council. I watched that boy quickly become a man. My final day in this world was spent celebrating the king, my grandson's 18th birthday. The Tudor dynasty was secure in King Henry VIII's hands. Galvanised by the second Tudor generation, through him and his sons, we would endure. My work here was done.